how many hours a day are they doing chores? I mean, there's like
Well,
there's air fryers now. It's not that hard to cook, clean. I'm glad you brought that up because I do think that's, what if the person's lying, right? What if the person's just making stuff up to be a victim? What if, and I'm not saying me, but just in general, that's the challenge you get with anecdotes. I understand the discrepancy, but I think over time you just start to see who tends to make stuff up and who doesn't. And then that's something you got to make a judgment on as a person. So.
Well, I don't really make judgments on data. I think there's good sources. I think there's reliable and non-biased sources, and that's where I try to stay, right? Because numbers don't lie. When we look at things like maternal mortality, right? Like you can't lie on who died, right? Like they're dead. Right. So, and then when we suss that data out, like nobody's lying. I would agree with you.
Could you say that again? Wait, I just don't know what that is. What mortality? Say that one more
time. The maternal, like women who die during pregnancy, birth, and I believe it includes 40 days after birth as well in the postpartum period.
I do agree that some data is better than others.
Okay.
Right. So I'm not saying you don't take data, right? I'm not saying that you never look at it, you never consider it. All I'm saying is, for me personally, if you give me a study and it says something that conflicts everything I've seen in real life, you can't shame me into believing it. A lot of women,
I wouldn't want to shame you.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying this is common. Is they insinuate you're dumb, they insinuate you're lying or whatever. But it's like you can't shame me into not seeing what I've seen in real life. And I personally would think that you're easily manipulated if someone can just shove a piece of paper in your face and you believe it.
Right. Well, I wouldn't believe anything that anybody shoved in my face. Right. Like I would look at data and I would compare it with other data and I would compare it with other sources as well. Mm-hmm. Right. So when we read, if somebody were to send me a vlog or a blog post, if it's an opinion piece and if they say something, I'm going to want to know where that data came from, right? And so that's when we get in to like primary, secondary, and tertiary.
But the challenge you get in, because I've done a lot of these debates, and it always turns into this: the liberals believe their data, and the conservatives believe their data. We get nowhere. And that's kind of what.
Can you give me an example of like conflicting data and then tell me about conservative?
I would say conservatives like the Institute for Family Studies, I think it is. They like that source where liberals tend to not like it.
And why is that? I don't
because I think it's got like a religious backing.
Well, yeah. So
and the conservatives are not going to like the sources that come from the schools, right? Because the schools have more of like a left-leaning bias.
I think
I disagree, but that's how we see it.
Well, I think that to be honest, I think you're confusing left-leaning sources just with like educated, non-biased sources. And a religious institute would be biased for their agenda, kind of like you're talking about with marriage. But I believe, like, if we're going to look at data, I think that education, I don't think that's. I mean, to be honest, maybe you're right. Like maybe education is left leaning at this point. That might just be actually factual that right leaning people have completely abandoned like intellectual conversation and debate because they want to go on their feelings rather than facts. And so it's interesting to me that the topic of choosing to use data or not is the topic. I will not engage that way. My feelings don't matter.
So again, I noticed you said educated, non-biased sources. And to me, the way I would interpret that is I get to determine what's a good source and a bad source. And it just becomes a back and forth between.
No, I think things like peer-reviewed and double-blind studies, randomized studies, I think things like those are what would make them more. Right? Because if the people don't know they're in it, and if we're looking at raw data, and if we have sample size after sample size after sample size after sample size that is saying the same thing, I think that if I still chose to believe my own worldview, I think that I would be doing a disservice to myself.
Let me give you an example. Okay. So neither of us are this person, but I'm just going to give you an example.
Okay.
If you're a cop, and every day you're arresting Black people.
Mm-hmm.
every single day you're getting stabbed by them, you're shot by that, whatever. There's
Well, wait, you said arrested or getting assaulted by them? There's two different things that you just said. So arresting.
Okay, look, I don't need you to explain it to me.
Well, I think
need you to
no,
go.
I just want a clear question.
Okay, so if you're a cop and this is your experience, and then they throw a data set in your face. If I was the cop, I would go with my experience because, if you've worked in the field 20 years,
I don't know what the scenario you're giving me is.
No,
I don't know what scenario you're giving me is. So you're saying that I'm a cop and my experience is that I arrest more Black people than white people.
Yeah, and the data, and then let's say a study comes out and it says you arrest more white people commit crimes, and you're like, that is not true.
Well, yeah,
and I'm not trying to argue about that, by the way. We don't have to go back.
I would just say that, oh, wow, interesting. Like, I wonder why that is, right? So then I might look at like the rest of the data of like the people on my force, right? Now, if I find out that I'm the only person arresting Black people at the same rate and everybody else on my force is arresting people at the rate that data tells me the crime is committed, I would say, like, if I didn't want to be a racist, I'd be like, oh, wow, I should probably look at why I'm arresting more Black people.
Wow. Yeah, that. Back in 2023, I was put on a government watch list for speaking out about men's issues. The government spent who knows how much money trying to shut me up. And honestly, to some extent, it worked. I was demonetized on YouTube. I had 3 Instagram accounts deleted, 7 TikToks accounts wiped out, and I was forced to delete 3 years worth of work, videos, interviews, everything. The more honest I was, the harder I was punished. And eventually I had to shut down my show, move back home, and completely start over. But I'm not giving up. This time we're doing things differently. I've created my own app, a space where free speech actually means free speech. On this app, you'll not only get access to all my old content, but you'll also help shape our future documentaries and show topics. For just $10 a month, you're not only supporting me, you're supporting a movement, a network that refuses to be silenced. The link is in the description. Join us and be a part of something that fights back against censorship. Now, let's talk bigger picture. Why don't we have true free speech in America anymore? Welcome to the female economy, where women make 80% of consumer buying decisions. Have you ever wondered why women always seem to get their way? Well, here's the truth. Men tend to care about the free flow of ideas. Men can separate an idea from the person who said it. But women, on the other hand, have learned that they can control what gets said by controlling what gets funded. Platforms like YouTube have one goal. They want to make money. And if that means catering to the majority female audience, they will. That's why being a conservative creator today feels impossible. This isn't just about me, it's about the future of online speech. With the Audacity Network, me and my community will never have to worry about being silenced again. I would just say that study is full of shit. That's me personally. So I understand where you're coming from. I do get it, but it's just a difference in how we perceive information.
Right. So maybe that cop is just better at finding Black criminals, I guess. That's probably what he would say, right? It's just he's just better at it than.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just a difference in worldview, which is fine.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we can actually get into the. I just wanted to clarify that before we started. So
okay.
All right. So one of the topics I think you suggested was traditional gender roles benefit men more than women. I'll hear you out. Give me the case.
Okay, sure. Okay. Do you want to? So the reason I had asked you this, all these topics actually kind of blend together, to be honest. I did suss them out the way we talked about them, but they do kind of blend together. And just so everybody else knows, we talked about this topic and sexism still shaping pink collar and blue collar jobs. And I can't remember the other one. What was the other one?
It's women don't have it easier than men.
Oh, yeah. Which I think they all tie together, to be honest. But
that's why I picked it. We could do this another day and go through the other ones. But
You're fine.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, I think men gain more economic and social advantages from the gender roles than women. I'm going to say that that's going to be in wages and earnings. It's going to tie into the history that men have sort of had the norm of being the breadwinner and have had access to gain economic value far longer than women have. So that's like starting a race, X amount of steps ahead. When we talk about like unpaid labor, done whether you are a stay-at-home parent or you work, women typically are going to pick up more of the slack of that around the house, and things like that. And I've got data that I can go through this. I've just got some stuff that I wrote down here as well.
Sorry, say the last one more time. Unpaid labor. So women do more chores, essentially.
But yeah, when we talk about like outside of the there's outside of the workday. So even women who work like a 9 to 5, and then when they compare household labor, I think women do on average between like 37 and 51% more than men.
How many hours a day are they doing chores? I mean, there's like, there's air fryers now. It's not that hard to cook. You clean.
Yeah, well, I think that right there too, right? I mean, people who have children, right? Like I just literally went through a crisis for 45 minutes prior. My dad's fishing. Me and my mother, are wrangling, my child. That just typically like falls on the mother, and men benefit from that, right? My dad's benefiting from anecdotal, I know, right?
I'm okay with anecdotal. You can give it to me.
Yeah,
so that's
fine. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying,
tell me. So what's the specific thing that like was super, time consuming with the kid? Because to me,
I don't want to talk about my personal. I'm just saying, like, but here, let me.
I mean, we could just give an example. So, like, because we're having one kid, maybe two now, not 10. My grandma had 13 kids, so I could see how that would be time consuming. But we're not. I'm like, how many hours a day are we like cooking, and cleaning?
Yeah, I mean, kids don't do. You don't have children, right?
No kids.
By the way, Pearl, I have to say that for an anti-feminist, you sure would rock a feminist life. I mean, college, educated, no kids, you're not married yet. Like right now, you're in your prime. Like you got your bag, you've got your thing. Like I wish I had rocked the feminist lifestyle like you did.
Are you jealous?
I like honestly, yeah. Like I didn't have to wrangle my kid tonight before this, right? Like I mean, honestly, like So I think that getting pregnant young and holding that stance is
a house is 1,500 square feet. So that's square foot house.
Mine's a little bit bigger than that, but
I live in.
Well, here I pulled up the answer to your question. So,
like how many? So, because in the study, I want to know how many hours a day are the women doing this unpaid labor?
It like I said, it depends. So the 37% increase is it talks about 5.2 hours on average for men, 8.8 for women. This is
a day.
This is a day. This is a day. Let me pull up the chart here.
You seem really inefficient.
Well, no, because
OMG.
If you have a child,
I do have to read. These may roast you at times. I want you to know it's not personal, but I will read that. You're welcome if they super chat you on TikTok and they roast me. It's totally fine.
They are.
OMG, it's fine. Is she really complaining about life skills every man can do?
They can. They just don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree that men can do these things. They just don't.
Okay. So you're saying men gain more economic and social gender roles from women.
That they benefit.
They make more money. How do you know they don't make more money to appease women's spending habits because women spend more than men?
When you say women spend more, where are you getting that information from?
Well, the first line of eyesight would be my eyes. I do have eyes and I see how women move in the world. Women do make 80% of consumer buying decisions. I think it's like 150,000.
Well, yeah, they're doing. Well, yeah, they're doing the shopping for that. That's part of that unpaid labor that they're doing, right? So they are managing the household, managing the bills, right? So when you say women are doing it, like
you got to stop interrupting me. Okay, yeah, you gotta let me finish. Okay, so. The first way I would have this opinion is my eyes. So I have seen the difference between men and women's spending habits. I noticed this in college. Women would go out to eat. Men would be more likely to eat in the cafeteria. I noticed this post-college where women would invest in, especially white women, we love Botox. You know what I mean? we love Botox. We love shopping. You know, I don't really witness a lot of women cooking, to be honest. Maybe that's what this study is saying, but that's just not what I've noticed. I know more than I know. You gotta let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
I don't want to mute you. I don't want to mute you, but I will. So, see, this is why I can't be interrupted. I'll be on a roll, you know. So anyways, it first starts in college where I just notice a different, you know, women go out shopping. That's like a hobby for us. That's a hobby. It's not a hobby for men. Then on top of that, there is evidence that supports this. It's also, if I go around in the city, I just see all the stuff that like is marketed to women, you know, restaurants, Botox, fake nails, fake hair. Doug MPA. Oh yeah. Then there's, hold on. Look, hold on 1 second. 1 second. I'm going to take you down for 1 second. 1 second. I can't read and listen. So I'm trying to have a conversation with her. You gotta let me go. Thank you. I can't. Yeah, please don't do that. You can put it. It's just, you know. Okay. Thank you. We're back. So yeah, so you have I witness women traveling. You see this on Instagram. Student debt. Women own the majority of. So I would attribute, and my eyes, you know, I grew up with a mother and a father. My mother spent far more than my father. Relatives. The women always spend more than the men. So yeah, go ahead. You're welcome to rebuttal now.
Okay. Can you show me some data to back that up, please?
In their lifetime than men. If I do show you data that backs that up, will you believe it or think I'm lying?
No, I believe data, but then I'm going to want to look at why. I already know the answer to this. I'm just wondering if you have it.
Women spend, why it costs $300,000 more to be a woman than a man.
Right. Yeah. What is that, like a Cosmo blog or what?
Yeah. See, I don't like this where you're going in bad faith. I try to have a nice conversation with you.
Okay. Where's the data from? Where's it from?
I mean, this is always where it goes. It's I don't believe Pearl. I think she's lying, which is fine.
I just show me the data then. Listen.
All right. There we go.